Thank you for tuning in and welcome back to the Sandwich of Coherency. Well, today I want to talk about just a whole bunch of what the hell happening in the world lately. This is mostly just American news and so much is just getting jumbled up. So we're going to try and put a little bit of it into order. I'm sure that all of you have recently heard about the debacle with Alec Baldwin and him shooting that woman due to a untrained armorer controlling the weapons on the set. There seems to be a whole lot going on with this, and I am very sad about the fact that the director of that film lost her life. That's a very tragic situation. Is it what's the word I'm looking for? Is it worth all of this public media attention that Alec Baldwin is garnering from it? No. Look, and this is not to say that it's not a tragic event, because it is tragic, but does it deserve the amount of media attention that it's getting? No, it doesn't. And I know that sounds pretty heartless for me to say it like that, but the reason I'm saying that is because they're using that to overshadow something else that happened. But unfortunately, the tidal wave of truth bombs are making their way to the surface, and there's a huge major push to keep throwing the Alec Baldwin situation out there. But let me go ahead and quit dangling that carrot in front of you. The NIH, this is what I've been saying this for so long, but the National Institute of Health has come out and admitted that Dr. Fauci was lying. They were doing gain of function research. He signed off on it. He knew what was going on. He was absolutely aware. So the reality is that they want to they want to pump Alec Baldwin in your face and all this trending pop media. Look, again, I have to reiterate this so people just don't get the wrong impression. I am very saddened that the director of the film Rust lost her life. But hear me out. Dr. Fauci and this whole COVID thing, which just has a global impact in the fact that we're dealing with a virus that was created in a lab, that virologists around the world have said there's no natural way for this to jump from animals to humans without help. We just have the National Institute of Health coming out confirming what I've been saying, that Dr. Fauci was absolutely lying the entire time. So let's listen to Dr. Fauci being questioned about this and hear what he has to say when Dr. Rand Paul, everybody keep calling him Rand Paul, but the guy is a doctor. But let's go ahead and let's listen to Dr. Fauci's response to being questioned about the National Institute of Health funding gain of function research and him knowing.
I've never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement. This paper that you were referring to was judged by qualified staff up and down the chain as not being gain of function. Let me finish.
You take an animal virus and you increase its transmissibility to human. Right. You're saying that's not gain of function?
Yeah, that is correct. And Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly. And I want to say that officially. You do not know what you are talking about.
Well, now.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Well now. unless I'm mistaken, I would like to believe that Dr. Fauci perjured himself under oath there, and that is not the first time that he has done that. And we also know, over the past few months, that paper he is talking about, due to the release of his emails he was hoping would have stayed hidden, turns out that was a lie. This guy has been lying left and right, and yet they keep listening to the man, and they keep making changes and band-aiding stuff on the American citizens' lives based off of what this man keeps saying. Everybody wants to keep putting their trust. Well, he's Dr. Fauci, you know, he's the lead, he's the top scientist. Oh my God, he's the top scientist of shit. Okay? So let's understand a little bit more about Dr. Fauci, because since he seems to be everybody's savior as to, dealing with things such as vaccines and infectious diseases, let's see what else he had his hands in. According to the National Institute of Health, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. They are trying to cover their arses, and they are throwing this man under the bus because they want no parts of it. So now they're accused of spending $100 million of taxpayers' money on torturing lab monkeys with acid and rubber snakes. So the whole idea, and it depends on how you want to take this, I'm not trying to say some kind of conspiracy or anything like that. I'm just saying the reality is that they keep telling you that humans are closely related to monkeys. And if you believe that, then it should be a little troublesome that they spent so much money in order to figure out how to create fear in the monkeys. Okay? They tortured these monkeys with rubber spiders and mechanical snakes and objects they made them to grow to fear, so they could observe how they react. And then on top of that, they used acid to basically bore holes into portions of the monkey's brain to exacerbate that. So, pardon me for that. This is another one of his, we're not going to tell the public this is what we're doing, I'm going to deny it experiments. What else do we have then? Oh, let's see. He funded that Tunisian research lab where beagle puppies were being force-fed a new drug. And they had them caged, tied down with their heads in a box. I'm just going to tell you this now. This is not going to, what I'm about to say is not going to be very pretty, so I apologize if this kind of stuff bothers you, but they slit the dogs' throats so they wouldn't have to hear the dogs barking by slitting the vocal cords. And then what they did was, with the boxes, with the dogs' heads in the box, they allowed sandflies to eat them alive. And somehow, I understand research and things have to be done, but, we've got, the reality is that animal research in itself hasn't had to be done like this in over a decade. So it's pretty shocking that this is coming out, and this is not at the forefront. This should be at the forefront of the more or less the local news, your cable news stations. You shouldn't have to find more information about this through independent media like The Hill and all. Granted, the Daily Mail is talking about it, and that's very good. But yeah, it seemed to, in my opinion, this is just being overshadowed by the situation with Alec Baldwin. And I just think that's just a complete disservice to the American people. So the next part I want to get into is what's been happening in the more so the world of finances, and more or less how the Democrats have this idea to take everything from you. If you are a part of the middle class, or you are a part of the lower class, even if you're touching into the middle upper class, the Democrats have a plan to take everything from you. Okay, this transition to this new type of government that they want, this new kind of financial economic system that they're going for, requires them to destroy that section of America. Okay, so understand, I've mentioned it before, the Build Back Better plan, and how this is not a plan of America. This is a plan of the United Nations and the World Economic Forum. If you read what their actual plan is, which I have given those sites before, then you understand that the Democrats' financial plan is literally what the World Economic Forum wants. This is Klaus Schwab is his name, and you've got this guy this one person, one dude, that's KLAUSSCHWAB, if you want to go look him up. He seems to be the deciding factor for what every major government is doing. They are listening to him like he is some kind of overlord. I will refuse to comply. They can suck it. But there are things that they're doing, and if you're not paying attention, they keep throwing this at you like, this is only going to affect the rich. We're only taking money from people that we consider rich. Look, I'm going to tell you, a lot of people don't understand this. That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works. That's not how it has ever worked. George Bush Sr., we're not going to raise taxes on the middle and lower class. They raise taxes on the middle and the lower class. Bill Clinton. Let's even go back even further. Ronald Reagan, same exact situation. Bill Clinton, we're not going to raise taxes. What do? They raise taxes on the middle class. Obama, we're not going to raise taxes on the middle class. We absolutely raise the taxes on the middle and the lower class. You kind of had it like a plateau under the Trump administration, whether you like the guy or not, pay attention to what your finances were, depending on what you were doing and how much you were making, then you actually did see some increases. So now we've got the Biden plan, which is looking to implement some of the largest tax hikes in 50 years. As well, I think it's the largest spending in peacetime in the United States history. I could be off about that. But this is real. This is not going to go away. Understand, they are not going to stop until they get something in place that allows them to take what you have. Okay? So let's understand what they want to do. Let's start with how they hoodwinked people. Everybody said, hey, man, don't vote for Trump. And you voted for Biden. What did he tell you? You're not black if you don't vote for him. Okay. So, you voted for him. And it looks like the $45 billion that the HBCUs, the historically black colleges and universities, were going to get has shot down due to the White House, and has been shot down to less than $2 billion. That's his plan for me. I mean, but hey, you know, he's doing that for you because you're black. If he gives them all that money, you know, I mean, I don't fucking know. That's terrible. He lied the entire time. How could anybody have taken that man at his word? Is beyond me. But hey, look, all right. You went from 45 billion to less than 2 billion. But in your defense, you don't have to have any more mean tweets. So that's good balance right there, right? Less money for education, but nobody hurt your feelings. I don't know. I call that getting the short end of the stick. So he's got this treasurer, Janet Yellen. Now I had mentioned this before with people earlier in the year, and this is the matter of the unrealized wealth tax, and you know they've got people, they've convinced the people who are not understanding of how the markets work, you know, and they understand that, and that's not to talk down on anybody or look down on anybody. It's not, you know, there are a lot of things in this world that not everybody knows everything about, and that's okay, you know. But once you learn about it and you choose to stay blind and you make a conscious effort to not learn about it, that's where the problem begins. So this idea that they want to do with the unrealized wealth is what that means is that, you know, let's say I'm gonna just give an example. Keep it simple. You spend $1, you know, and your dollar in a year turns into $10. You've never taken. You're not gonna cash it out, so it's not realized. Okay, so there's no taxes to be paid on it until you actually cash that out and you take that $10. What the government wants to do is they want you to pay taxes on that $9 profit, even if you haven't cashed it out. You get what I'm saying? Now what the way Janet Yellen puts it is, and understand what you got to think clearly, listen clearly about what she's saying. She's saying that there's a lot of people, calling them billionaires, that have a lot of money liquid. This is not money in their savings account or their checking account. They can't go to an ATM and draw this out. This money is liquid. This is liquid assets because it's in investments. Things that it's invested in capital. Okay? So what she's saying is that, and these are her words, there are people who have this money, this liquid assets locked away, and they never take it out. See, this is what she said. They never cash it out, and they pass it on to their descendants, and then they pass it on to their descendants, and people only take a little bit. They never cash it out because they understand that by leaving it in and just taking what they need, they let it grow and they never run out. Their plan is to take it from you. You're not going to take it out. You're not going to cash it. No. Okay, so since you refuse to do that so we can tax it, all right, cool. We're just going to take it from you. Now, people are always saying, well, yeah, we got to stick it to those rich people. You know, we got to, because they're hoarding all that wealth. Again, they tell you one thing, but you're going to get the opposite. Okay, so for a lot of people, you know, they're not rich, they're not wealthy. You know, okay, these are regular Americans who are working their tails off to build something, to save something. You know, I'll give you an example. You have a father who met his wife and his 2 kids, and this guy's been, you know, putting money aside and investing in things, in markets and capital for his children, so that when he dies, he can leave something behind for them so that they have something and they don't have to struggle or go through what he went through. So this person puts money aside and he's leaving it, and he's not touching it. He's leaving it for his family when he passes on. Let's say he puts aside $100,000. Now he's not taking this money out. Now he's probably just an average working guy. So, I mean, these things do happen. So the amount of tax that he would have to pay on that might not be something that he can actually afford. In the sense of, you know, if you what they want, the way it's going to work is if you sell your investment, then they will take the tax that they want that you didn't realize off the top, and then they'll also take the tax of you selling it. So the whole idea is that you're either going to pay the tax on the unrealized wealth, or you're going to sell whatever you're invested in so that you can give them the money that they told you needed to give them for not cashing out. Now, what happens is when you do that to people that are invested in, say, large companies or businesses, you're going to have a lot of issues. You will cause a decrease in the share price, and you can end up causing companies to basically belly up, especially if they're not a large holding. So, you know, people are only thinking like, oh, this is going to just affect the rich people. No, this is going to affect regular people, regular, average, everyday people who work a 9-to-5, who want to put $20 to $50 a week aside from their paychecks into the stock market so that they can try and say, earn some money to take a holiday. Say, hey, earn some money so they can retire early. These are the people that are going to be affected the most. It's going to affect the small business owner. It's going to affect them and the people under them. And the large big box stores and companies, they're going to be okay because that's what the Democrats want. And if you think that I'm off base with that, think about this one. Again, I'll repeat this. What did they do? They kept the major companies open. The local diner in maybe your town couldn't open. But McDonald's could be open 24 hours a day. You see what I mean? It's kind of like the lady in California whose restaurant was shut down because it was viewed as, we're in the middle of a pandemic and, you're going to kill people. Yet a film crew was allowed to set up and film right outside of her restaurant, and they had food catered. Because according to what the government said, because they work for these kind of companies, they're deemed as safe. So it's created a separation. So again, this is why the large companies made all this money. The entire freaking time. That's why. Because that's what they want. Because those people will do what the government says because it benefits them. You having a small business does not benefit them. You're not paying money like that. You are not kicking out 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $100 million to the government a year. So they really don't care what you have to say. Now, nothing I'm telling you is financial advice. Whatever you decide to do with your money is your own thing. But I will say that most people have a smartphone. Most people have an iPhone. There are a ton of investment apps. Check them out. See what you can get into. Now, I've mentioned before the idea you're not going to get these taxes. You're not getting that money. You're not getting the money. No matter what they tell you, you're not getting the money. The government can collect as much freaking money from every rich person they want, from every citizen, it doesn't trickle its way down to the people because you're not getting that money. The government's multi-trillion dollars in debt, and they're just adding to the debt. Nothing they say we're going to spend, nothing they say they want to do is going, none of it's going to do anything but add more to the debt. That's just the reality of it. That's just the reality of it. So here's the thing. One reason why I'm telling you now you're not going to get that money is because there are those with the money that are smart enough to invest. The government wants to take the money from you. It's fine. They take their money and they put that money in the government because the government won't be able to pull it. They buy things such as bonds. So if you buy a bond, it's subject to federal income tax, but not state or local income tax. So you're saving there. It's also, any federal tax, gift, excise tax, whatever that, if you want to pass it down or whatever other taxes they have already set in place. But the thing is you don't have to claim the interest each year. So you can do the interest and claim it all at once at the end of it. It's a less of a tax burden. Like your tax payment will be much less than if you had not. And on top of that, if you put it into things such as bonds for education, there's no payments on there's no federal income tax pretty much. So there are ways to where when the government says we're going to take this money, that people know that they can take that money, put it into other places that the government cannot take it and can't touch it. They can defer the interest payments. They can basically have it almost tax-free. And in the end, you get less money. And then when you get less money, the government comes to the middle class and the lower class with their hands out. That's how you have a situation such as with the North Carolina Tax Service, where they will change the rules and then they will apply them retroactively to your previous taxes and then tell you owe them money for it because they're playing time travel with your finances. Shady motherfuckers. But hey, so I'm going to close this off. Ran a little long today, but I couldn't help it. It's just so much to say, And I'm going to close this off with a couple things. And one, we've got the mayor of Chicago with her loud mouth, and you've got over 3,800 people shot, almost 800 people killed alone there this year to date, and she's still coming up with all these ideas to lock up citizens who want to live their fucking lives. You've got your police department ready to walk the fuck out because somehow you think you are I guess she is the boss, but she's running her job like she's a tyrant. Somehow she thinks she has more power than she really does. And she really doesn't. And I hope that come election time that the citizens of that city will remove her because she has done nothing but bring it down worse than it already has been. So their attorney general has stated, or rather I think it's the state attorney general of Illinois, especially dealing with the 1 mile block of Chicago, the business area, like the high-end place where the shopping is. But right now, anything under $1,000, they will not prosecute as far as theft goes. So just think about that. Anything under $1,000, you want to go in and, just every day go steal some shoes and shit. They're not going to do shit about it. So why would anybody open a business there? You can be guaranteed that Everybody's going to fucking leave. This is not going to last. A lot of people are going to get hurt, and a lot of businesses are going to leave, which is going to create an even larger economic crisis, which means more people are going to get hurt. And somehow they're going to turn around and tell you that this is the fault of the evil Republicans. Oh well. In the next bit, and then this is around September. This is I don't know if a lot of people caught this, but I thought it was one of the most interesting things. According to the CDC, 214 children 17 years or younger have died of COVID nationwide, which pales in comparison to the 261 children that have been shot in Chicago. Not nationwide, but in Chicago. More children have been shot in that one area than have died as of September 11th from this disease over the course of the entire nation of 350 million people. God damn. And then this, but I will, we're going to go ahead and close it off with that. What I want to say is that tomorrow we're going to get into what's going on in New York with the smart gas, and we're going to look into, has the government sprayed their citizens in the past in order to quote unquote test shit? Well, I think they have, and we'll definitely get into that. So I thank you for tuning in. I'm glad to have you, and if you want to support the channel, you can join our store on Teespring. We have mugs, we have shirts. If you want to donate to the channel through Anchor FM, show some love. You want to give us a like, we greatly appreciate it, but we're just glad to be able to share what we have with you, and we thank you for tuning in. So thanks again, and I hope you have a good night.